Hi, I'm Travis,
And I'm James.
and we have a whole new setup here.
So today we're going to be talking about something that just about everybody can relate to, and that is crappy jobs or crappy situations in jobs that you've worked at.
I'm sure that we've all had them. Anyone who's ever worked a job has generally had, at least some sort of a rough experience, especially if you've worked in retail, food service, or anything where you're interacting with the public at large.
Yeah, my very first official job was at a store called FYE, and it was, to put it lightly, horrible. And so that says a lot. But I worked there in high school, and I think the first couple of months I was like, oh, I can do this part time right after school is fine. But then I think about the third month I was just like, yeah, I need to get out. So I ended up staying like a year, and then I left. And I didn't even give any notice. I just walked in and was like, you know what? Today's my last day. I'm not coming back. And,
Oh, okay.
and I did that twice because I worked there twice. So, yeah. But yeah, I mean, between the customers, management, coworkers, it was just the worst.
Yeah, my first job was working for Aramark as a caterer at the local university where I was growing up. Luckily, I didn't work in the cafeteria because I don't think I could have been able to be around all those college students. But it was mostly like events for university staff and stuff like that. And it was a great first job because I learned what it was like to work in food service. But my first day, I'm amazed I wasn't fired. They didn't have like a catering job for me to do. They didn't really have a person to show me around, and so they're just like, "Hey, here's the chef. Just to hang out with him for the day, and you'll be fine." And it was totally them being like, "I don't have anything to do with this 16-year-old kid," or I might have been 15, and they just were like, "Oh, here you go," like just passing me on. And the chef was like, "Oh, well, here's what I need you to do. I need you to take these things of ribs, put them in this giant KitchenAid of sauce, and then put them on the plate." Never worked in a kitchen before, so I didn't know that those white rags with the blue stripes on them existed, that are really great for wiping off your hands in between stuff, especially if you have to touch machinery. So I just licked my fingers. Repeatedly. I'm sorry if you ate that food, if you were at that university at the time. Yep, I'm amazed I wasn't fired because the chef came back and I just, I didn't have a beard. And my face is just, covered in red sauce because I didn't have a rag. That was easily the most embarrassing work experience of my life.
Yeah, I worked in, I guess, food service hospitality. I was a barista. But it actually wasn't that bad. The only thing I did not like was the customers. Because when you work in food service or hospitality, it's like this feeling that customers kind of think they're above you because you're working. But it's like, no.
Yeah.
I remember one person specifically, she was very passive aggressive about what she was saying. And she was like, oh, well, I guess you guys don't make $10 an hour like I do you? And I was like, you're 40 something and you only make $10 an hour. That's not a lot of money.
Yeah. Oh, she wasn't like, oh yeah,
No, she was saying it oh, I make $10 an hour and you don't. I was like, we make $9.
Okay.
So I make $1 less than you do, but I'm
Right.
also 21 at the time, 22. And I was like, you're in your 40s and you make $10 an hour. You have bigger things to worry about.
There's a buddy of mine who I mostly interact with online, but Terrence. Hi, Terrence, if you're watching. One of my favorite things that he posts, he is a barista, And one of my favorite things that he posts is ridiculous drink orders. Did you ever get any of those where someone's like, I want a cappuccino with 10 sugars, which is like, if you want a cappuccino, that's a very not sweet drink.
Yeah, it was a lot of those. It got to a point where at first it was a problem, but then I like memorized by each guest because I'm like, I don't want any problems. I don't feel like hearing anybody's else, so I would just remember exactly what they wanted.
Yeah.
Like there was one person, he would always order a small cappuccino, but in a large cup. He wanted
So
the
that he
foam
had-
to be that
Oh!
with almond milk, which was harder to foam because
Because it's
steams
not
quicker.
dairy, yeah.
So it gets hotter quicker, so it's harder to steam. And he's like, I also want it with a dash of soy added. And I was like, and then he was like, that's just mine for my wife. She wants it. And he had another complicated. I was just like, I can't do this. And the first
I
time
love
he
that.
did that, it was because I worked at Saxby's in Ardmore, so that was like a kiosk. So it was just me by myself.
Yeah.
So the line was like out of the door because I was just like, I can't. And then I gave it to him. He's like, I don't think this is soy milk. I was like, you asked for almond milk. He's like, oh, but I wanted soy. I meant soy. So I was like, okay, this is just not a good start to my day. But I made like $100 in tips that day, so I was fine.
That's not bad. I worked at a restaurant for a while where I was growing up in the Poconos. That's inside of a hotel, like an inn. And the people I worked with were pretty cool for the most part. But like it was this place that was like really trying to bill itself as like a 5-star restaurant. But like there's no health inspector in that county, so there's definitely no one coming around like rating restaurants. Like that's not a thing that's happening. But the staff was like the wait staff was me, my 3 friends who were younger than me. Like I think we were juniors or seniors in high school when we were working there, and Jose, who is the most awesome person you will ever meet, and his wife, and I don't want to get her name wrong, so I can't remember it right now, but they were this super sweet couple from Colombia. They were the sweetest people, but like that was the consistent wait staff. It was like the 4 of us, Jose and his wife, and occasionally people coming in and out, but like we were there for a solid 2 years, and that restaurant was a bad experience, not because of anything that the staff, we did get a bad manager later, but like our first manager was awesome. But like the problem was that like no one knew it was there. Like we didn't, like there were like 30, 40 tables in the room. We were like, if 2 servers were on, it was like, oh, you get the table today. Like, look, they came in. The people who were coming. We had someone come in. They were staying in the hotel that like we are inside of a hotel. Guests come downstairs. They're walking around. They're looking at the fireplace and all this stuff. And they go, oh, "There's a restaurant inside here. I didn't know there was a restaurant inside." No, you have to tell people about this. So that was bad, just because like, you know, there was a time where I was working almost 40 hours there and I was making nothing, and that was awful.
Oof. I think there was another like annoying thing about when I worked at Saxby's. The thing with working in like hospitality and retail is that like since you're not salary, you don't have a set schedule. So when somebody will call out, it's like, okay, you'll get a call like, hey, can you cover this person? Or somebody had to leave early, and it's like, okay, I'm here by myself. But I mean, before I started working my current job, I worked 3 weeks straight. Because every time somebody would call out, I would take the shift because I was like, I'll take the extra money, I'll take the tips, sure.
Yeah.
So I worked 3 weeks straight, no days off, and then I went right into this current job, and I was like, that was the longest month of my life.
Dang.
Never again.
I work as a bike courier right now, mostly delivering food, which is fine because it's nowhere close to food service because I don't have to deal with that garbage smell at the back of restaurants. I don't have to really interact with people other than like knocking on their door and usually just being like, here you go. Unless someone's like, oh yeah, you can just go ahead and put it in the fridge, which is something that comes up. But someone like forgot that they were on the schedule yesterday, and my brain's gonna catch up eventually. So there were 2 of us delivering, and we were supposed to do like whatever other deliveries, and then this person's supposed to be stationed at a restaurant. Like their stuff doesn't come through our phones, so we just covered for him and did that. But what was nice was like I essentially got paid for like a shift and a half working a single shift. And not for like too much extra work. It was just kind of inconvenient because if I was like making a route, I had to like figure a way to get to that restaurant one way or another, which actually is very close to where we are right now, which is cool.
Yeah, and to go back to like retail, it's like I think that was probably the worst experience of my life. But I only did it because I was like 16 or 17 at the time. I was like, I need job experience. I'm doing this for 6 months and then I'm out. But ended up being there for like a year and a month before I quit the first time. And then I went back when I was in college for a month and then I quit again the same way. Just like today's my last day, I'm not coming back. Well, no, the second time I actually I wasn't on a schedule for a week. That's another thing with retail. That if you work part time, they will screw you with hours. But I wasn't on the schedule for a week. Come back to pick up my paycheck, and the manager's like, "Oh, well, I want an apology because you didn't come to a staff meeting that I didn't know anything about because I wasn't on the schedule."
Right.
So I just took my check, I laughed in his face, and I walked out, and I didn't come back. So
Okay. I mean, yeah, that was always kind of like a weird thing. It was like, oh, we're gonna have a staff meeting. It's in no way at a convenient time. Like, it's not at the beginning or end of a shift. It's like gonna be on your day off, and
like 2 hours before anything.
most of the jobs that I've ever had, I've actually had like quite a bit of travel time to. Where I grew up in the Poconos, everything was like at least a half-hour drive for me because I lived 10 miles outside of town. And so I would have to drive in. So like that, you know, if it's a 15-minute meeting, I'm driving an hour for that. Or
Yeah.
like when I was here in the city, sometimes we would have meetings up at, I worked in the Northeast for a while, and the school I was at was pretty far up in the Northeast. Like it was a good, you know, 40 minutes at best bike ride, or like an hour if I, you know, most of the time. But our office was even further out in the Northeast. Or I guess like maybe just a little bit further north, but that would take me an hour and a half. So I always told them like, I'm not coming if it's less than an hour. Like there's no way that's happening. And although like if I had known at the time, that office is actually really close to one of the nicest trails that we have here in Philly. So really I should have just been like, yeah, like, I wouldn't have changed out of my spandex if it was less than an hour. I would sit there in my spandex and then just go play bikes in the woods for probably just the rest of the day and then go home. And I think that would be a great way to spend time.
Yeah, that was a thing I hated too. Like if it was a meeting, before I started like catching Uber and before Uber was a thing, it would take me like half an hour to an hour to get to Center City. And they'd be like, oh, well, you can clock in for the meeting and you'll get paid for it. But it's like, okay, say you're making $8 an hour, the meeting is 15 minutes. I came an hour to make $2. That's still going to get taxed when I get my pay. No, thank you. No,
Yes.
I just can't do that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and if you didn't already pay for a trans pass, then that was
Pretty much your car for that you. Yeah. So
Yeah.
no. Yeah. I learned that I will never go back to retail unless. Well, no, just leave it at that. I will never go back to retail. Hospitality, I would probably do bartending because I don't like my current job, so I would think about going to that route. But other than that, no.
I worked in a few like really bad food service situations. Like I kind of like brushed over it a little bit, but like I don't ever want to have to go back to food service ever again. I don't think that I ever would. Although the bar that's near my house, I think I would work there just because I like the people that work there. But I like them with like from a customer perspective now. That doesn't necessarily mean I would like them as coworkers.
Yeah.
But they are nice people, and I would consider it if I needed the work, which has come up recently. But I was able to find the courier work, and that was really fun. So we want to hear about your bad work stories because they exist. You have them. We know you have them. You know you have them. Everybody's got one.
And they're probably worse than ours, so just feel free to share them.
Yeah, I'm very sure. There's so many people I'm sure that who like I feel very lucky because I've heard some really really bad stories coming out of food service workers. But yeah, we do. We want to hear them. You can engage with us, in the comments below because this is on YouTube. You can also send us an email at mondaycoffeeshow@gmail.com. Plus, we have a Facebook page, a Twitter. We're thinking about getting an Instagram. Also, we're thinking about, because it's just the nature of the show, about putting this on like SoundCloud and iTunes is just kind of like an audio only thing as well. So there'll be comment boxes there as well. So I mean, there's so many ways to engage with us. But besides that, please subscribe to the show, share it with all of your friends, and enjoy your week, and more importantly, enjoy your coffee.